Hi there. Yeah, today a little bit different story because yesterday I posted something on Reddit. I wrote there and asked for some suggestions, some help, because I think our podcast is not doing that well. I'm doing this right now 6 months. Exactly 30th of June 2025 is when I completed 6 months of doing podcast. And I think our numbers are not that great. So for you to have an idea, in average, we have 20%. No, sorry. In average, we have 10 people listening to this podcast. And that's not a lot considering all the effort and the work I'm putting into it. So I went yesterday in the evening, wrote to the on Reddit asking, here are my numbers. I'm doing this for 6 months. What I'm doing wrong? Is it my podcast even relevant? Are there people who are interested in that? And when I woke up today, I had a surprise because 10,000 people read that post and I had 22 comments. People really trying to help me, to give me suggestions and tell me some ideas on how to get better. And I'm really taking these ideas very serious. And I thank for you if you left a comment or some suggestions of how to improving. I'm really thankful because I think I can learn from it. I'm new to podcast, now doing it for 6 months, not that new, but I'm learning the way as I'm going, I'm learning and I'm willing to adapt and willing to improve. And there are a few ideas, insights which I got from these comments. The first one is about the language. So I'm not a native German English speaker. I speak German and Portuguese very well. These are my native language, but most of my life I lived outside of Germany, and now I'm in Germany. But all my friends, or most of my friends, people I know, they cannot speak German, and they cannot also not understand Portuguese. So I speak English at home, also at work. A big part of my life is the English language. So I thought, okay, I just try keep on English and try to make it fluent. Now I'm not that fluent in English, but that was a suggestion to use my mother language so the podcast also would be more enjoyable to listen to it. But for now, I will keep it. I just keep it in English and I try to push through. I try to improve my speaking fluency so it is more enjoyable for you to listen. That was one suggestion. The second suggestion I got out from these 22 comments is that maybe that AI topic is not that interesting, not that compelling anymore. Because everyone knows about AI, that you can talk to it, and only having a talk show where you talk to the AI, he replies, and you have back and forth talking about some subject is not that compelling anymore, because today everyone is doing that already. They have cell phones, everyone has a computer and can talk to the AI and get all this kind of information. So what people want to listen are the ideas and insights of a person. What's their take? How they get. Of course, you can use AI to prepare all the information and summarize or make script and prepare some scripts for your podcast. But the main element is still the human beings, which sparks interest. And that's why I decided to take this idea or comment really and take it seriously, and I will tune down a little bit the AI part of it. So there will be a bigger part of the human interaction, also with some guests or some other person talking, but really sharing the human view and what we can see from this. So comments and ideas. And the third one, which is maybe the most fundamental aspect which came out from these 22 comments, is, well, what's the purpose of this podcast? What's my value proposition? Now, what is the kind of problem which we are trying to solve here? And that really struck me because I think I was sliding. I was skipping to here to there, but I didn't really have a straight plan. I was navigating from one episode to the other, and AI is interesting, so let's keep the conversation going and trying different AI models, etc. But what's the value for you who are listening? And for me, that's that's the most important point of all of them, because I value your time. If you are listening to this right now, thank you very much, because you are taking your time and listening to someone talking to about something. And I really hope and I want to have a good content, something which brings value to you, something which makes you get some inspiration, some new ideas, some fresh thoughts, and which can bring something to the table. And that's one central point, and I was very fuzzy on that. And regarding this point, I also took a decision. I will be more focused on a certain topic. So I will focus on the storytelling aspects of the podcast. So every week, in the middle of the week, every Wednesday, there will be one episode telling a story of something which happened, of something about business, about tech company, about insights of the algorithms, or about personalities, the human aspects. Are there any people who did great achievements and had great ideas, but maybe it's not so well known in the world? Is there some interesting stories out there? And I'm sure there are. How about the development of the computer? How about the development of electricity? How about the development of the cities? How about a person who invented some groundbreaking ideas? How about performance which has been achieved in groundbreaking levels which was not thought before? Groundbreaking new ways of doing things or reimagining things. And these stories told from the backside, not the big story which we know, Amazon, how it became big. No, that's not the story I want to tell. I want to tell the story, is there someone in Amazon who you don't know? Someone on the background, working, thinking, imagining, dreaming, and struggling to make that thing which everyone knows happen. And these stories I'm looking for. And I think that is interesting because it's inspiring. It's inspiring in a way that to see that not only the person who gets the fame and who are really in the forefront of a big corporation, they are seen as the gods and as the great personalities in history. No, but they are the silent persons behind it who make it all possible. And that's the story I want to talk on this podcast. So it will be much more focused on these stories of excellence, of engineering, of technology, leadership, and personalities telling their stories. That's what the focus of this podcast will be. I'm really fascinated about this kind of stories. I hope you also like these stories, like to listen them, and it can draw some inspiration out from this, because I will shift a little bit. I will shift quite a lot now on the thumbnail from my podcast, on the description, on the content, and I will focus on this storytelling aspect. And you, dear listener, if you are hearing to this, I thank you very much. We have 22 followers of the podcast on Spotify. We have 10 people listening to each episode. In total, we have over 530 people already listened over the last 6 months, which is not that bad, right? But I think we can do better. I think I can add more value to you as a listener, make it enjoyable, and for you to have a nice experience by listening to this podcast, because I'm having a lot of joy going through this journey of podcasting. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening thank you for listening to this podcast. And we hear each other on the next episode, which might be a little bit different. Until then, take care and see you in the next one. Bye bye.